How do you sum up your association with Kabir Khan?
Very, very close friend and a person whom I look up to a lot for his intellect and his acumen for the subject of filmmaking.
Where does the 83 rank in your filmography as far as background score is concerned?
It was a dream come true. It was like a ticking off a bucket list.
That particular line, da, 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 da.
That is my composition, yes.
You did the background score for Tigers in there as well.
Correct.
And now Tiger 3 as well.
Well, it hasn't come to me yet, so I don't know. I hope I am.
Having a hook line which becomes like an anthem, like a James Bond anthem. That must be a proud feeling, right?
Of course it is. Yeah, yeah. You feel very good that people hum it and they use it in memes and they use it for other, functions where somebody has to make a grand entry. Especially when Salman comes on any program or something, they tend to use it. So it's quite a big high for me, of course.
Julius, pleasure had to have you. I've known you for a really long time. It's always wonderful contact, just meeting you and talking to you. How have you been doing?
I've been doing great, and I'm hoping the same is with you.
Fantastic. All right. So tell us how's been your journey so far?
It's been exciting. It's been full of good and bad as well. I mean, it's not all the time. Life is like that. You have the ups and downs. During the pandemic, it was a little different. 2.5 years, things were a little stuck, and there was work, but not that kind of work where you felt that you were involved. It was all online, and you're not that connected. And our field is a very interpersonal environment. You need that contact with people, and you need to discuss and create music. I have a team that I couldn't get in touch with, so I mean that way. Well, it had its bad phases, but it's all coming back now. And yeah, the exciting times in the future to look forward to as well. So it's been great. I cannot, no complaints.
All right. How do you sum up your association with Kabir Khan?
Very, very close friend and a person whom I look up to a lot for his intellect and his acumen for the subject of filmmaking. His knowledge and his guidance is immeasurable. He's really, really helped a lot of people and a lot of he's done a lot of great work also, and because I'm a very close friend, I value that tremendously. It's very close to my heart.
Where does the 83 rank in your filmography as far as background score is concerned?
Amongst the best, Faridoon. It's again, the movie was so inspiring. Although I lived through it in real life, but to actually meet up with these superheroes of mine as a kid, and to be working on a theme that is based on that eventful watershed moment in our sports, history. It was a dream come true. It was like a ticking off a bucket list.
I'm sure it must have been like a bit of a heartbreaking experience when COVID wave just suddenly hit in, and the movie theaters they had to be closed. And you guys had been working on this film for a very long time.
Yes, for a long time. We started prior to COVID. It was like about 1.5 years. The pre-production was happening for that. And plus, I was very involved with the training of the cricketers. I would go and train with them every morning for 6 months. All the actors who were playing the cricketers eventually in the film. And we would meet every day in the morning under the guidance of Balwinder Sadhu sir. And he would come. He was the earliest always as our coach. He would train us every single day. We would have fun. We would interact with each other, go out for chais and breakfast, just hang with that whole gang. And the positivity within that group was so, it was so infectious. Everybody felt so good. We were having a great time, laughing, joking, training. It was really, really, again, as I say, like a once in a lifetime experience.
How do you look back at Kabul Express now? What was the tough part? A very haunting background score that one just cannot forget ever.
The best part about Kabul Express was it was my first feature film. And to work with a banner like Yash Raj and, have the freedom to do whatever, choose any musician I would like to utilize and jam with. And you're starry-eyed, you're in awe in this huge, massive complex, which doesn't make you feel like you're, part of, how cramped Bombay is in the studios in Bombay also like that. But this was like as if you were somewhere in Los Angeles with the best studio in the country. Literally, it is the best studio in the country in that sense. So to take a kid out of Delhi and to place him there in the first place and say, "Jo marzi karna hai, karo," it's like a kid in a toy store in Hamleys, straight out of a slum. It's like that, you know. It was I was like in awe, jaw dropping to the floor, you know, that kind of feeling. And then when you worked on when I saw the film, Kabir had always narrated the story to me many times over. And when he had actually visited Kabul along with his friend, and those stories were always something in my mind which I had created in my own imagination. But to now actually see where he went, what he did, and how what all kinds of experiences he had in that film when I saw the edit was like, you know, it was very surreal. You know, you feel like, my God, I was actually there, you know, immersed in that when you were narrating the whole thing. So the whole landscape, the beauty of that whole, you know, place itself. It's such a beautiful place, Afghanistan. And then to see it, you know, completely dilapidated, destroyed because of the wars and stuff like that. It was very, I mean, very disturbing. It's in some ways, but yeah, I mean, it was you were automatically drawn to a certain emotion for that country, for the people of that country, and what they went through. So when the music, I had to compose the music, it was but natural. It was going to be a kind of a melancholic, yet at the same time reminiscent. Like you have something that you'll always recall and long for. When you that music should go with the visuals. When you listen to the tune, you should see a tank moving through the streets of Kabul. It's something like that, a destroyed city, you know, which was once very beautiful. So that it all fell into place, and it was a fantabulous experience for me.
I'm sure. So, and you know, the interesting part is you're having a film which is not like song heavy. You know, there was like a Kabul Express song that came. I think that was more of a promotional
It
song,
was a marketing song,
and
yeah.
yeah, and the film was primarily, like, I think, driven in a way by the background score, and that wind instrument that was, I think, blended with these, I think, modern sort of, I think, percussions was something that was truly brilliant. So did the wind instrument idea was stemming from some element of Arabic music or something?
Well, they in places of that nature, like I'm talking about the Middle East, their instruments are very wind based only. They have a lot of flutes. They have a lot of other different kinds of horns that they use, which are made indigenously in that zone only. So when they play those sounds, it has a certain character, which is very and you know, you see arid land in front of you, desert, and just, you know, sand everywhere. So there's a certain characteristic to those instruments and the landscaping. It has a very you can call it a kind of a romantic relationship between the two, the instruments and the places from where it comes from. So but naturally we chose a flute which was like a kind of a Arabic flute, and we got the best flautist in the country, who was then playing for A.R. Rahman and Pritam, a guy called Naveen, and he had composed and played the tune for Dhoom also. So he was a very popular guy. So we got the best guy to play and come and jam, and then that's how the melody was formulated in the end.
New York. Now, another film that was delayed because of the multiplex um, crisis that was going on at that point of time. When it released, it did very well. Um, Once again, like, I think almost all of Kabir's films, that element of socio-political backdrop made it a talking point, and many would say that it was way ahead of its time. When you're making background score for a socio-political, in a way, thriller, something that is making a statement, what sort of brief does Kabir give you? Did Kabir give you so that you can just build on as far as the background score is concerned?
Well, the subject, you're right, the subject was based on a socio-political, imbalance that was there in the whole West, about how the whole, you know, the issues that the US was dealing with post 9/11, and especially with the people that were there from the Middle East or from Southeast Asia and stuff like that. So, and the story was pretty much written on those lines, and where an Indian is there, and he's really being, you know, persecuted in a very big way. And most Indians were there around that period of time. So when you discuss, when the subject is so sensitive, your music also has to have that emotion attached to it. You have to feel for the protagonist, or the characters who are going through that kind of, whether it's torture or whether it's, some way of being racist, I don't know, facing racist slurs. And for that reason, your emotion is kind of, how to say, affected as well. You feel for them. And your music kind of translates that feeling, and you come up with ideas and melodies and music that is got puts the audience as if he's actually present in that situation, feeling what those people actually felt when they were being persecuted.
Ek Tha Tiger, very, very widely mounted, the big film, shot in many countries. And interestingly, Kabir has utilized, I think, certain nuances as far as the, the the songs are concerned, which are having some maybe like a Cuban element or something of that sort. So did you consciously incorporate any element from, say, South American music or any other music whatsoever?
Of course, we did, in especially in the chases where Salman Khan is running away from the cops in Cuba. We use a lot of how to say, Cuban rhythms, and kind of they are like bossa nova kind of rhythms, and the kind of drums that I use, which are like these djembes and stuff like that. And the rhythms are very complicated in South America. It's not easy. It's like Carnatic music. The rhythms are in different time signatures. So this sequence that we have played, these kind of rhythms were, we had got a guy specially to play on it in this Cuban kind of bossa nova style. So it was very, very cool and very complicated, and it was great fun trying to record it also.
So that particular line, da, 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 that is yours, right?
That is my composition, yes.
And that was taken in Tiger Zinda Hai. You did the background score for Tiger Zinda as well.
Correct.
And now Tiger 3 as well.
Well, it hasn't come to me yet, so I don't know. I hope I am.
Oh, okay, interesting. But that hook line of yours is definitely there.
Correct.
That hook line is there even in the teasers that have come so far. So having a hook line which becomes like an anthem, like a James Bond anthem, that must be a proud feeling, right?
Of course it is. Yeah. You feel very good that people hum it and they use it in memes, and they use it for other functions where somebody has to make a grand entry. So that whole image of this theme playing especially when Salman comes on any program or something, they tend to use it. So it's quite a big high for me, of course.
And does Salman have any suggestions during you work with him in Tube Light as well, Bhaijan as well, and by Bajrangi Bhaijan?
Not really. Salman doesn't really. I think he has suggestions mainly for the edit, not for any other major department, and songs, of course.
Right. Okay. Now, post that, there was Bajrangi Bhaijan. Now, another epic film, and once again, a film that really, I think, fascinated the length and breadth of this country, and even apart from that, extremely emotional film as well. So, what was the brief for a film like Bajrangi Bhaijan?
Similar to what it's always you, in the sense that you have to do justice to the story. For Kabir, the story was very important, and I'm assuming for all his films, he keeps story front and center. That whoever's working on it first has to understand understand the thread of the story, the narrative of the story, feel for the character, get into the characters, feel for them, understand them, then automatically, and that does help, because then your kind of how to say, approach gets involved, gets immersed in the storytelling. And then your music, the rhythms that you use, the instruments that you use, the melodies that you play, they all kind of correlate, and they kind of come together. It's very crucial for him, and he always starts from the beginning, telling me the story and how one should feel and how one should think, and then he comes up with ideas. And first he'll ask me, what do you feel, and then we both share, we jam with does this work, does this feel work. And in the case of Bajrangi Bhaijan, it was very, very emotional, even on paper, when we read it. You really, teared up towards the end and stuff like that. So by default, the story was very, very strong. Whether Kabir made it or someone else made it, that's irrespective. But the story, I think, of that film was king in that sense. more than Salman was, or in that order.
Great. And what about Tube Light? Did you have any Chinese instruments? Any influences from?
We did use Chinese flute, we used pan flute, we used Chinese flute in Tube Light, and for the character of the Chinese girl, yes, when that family comes and lives there in that sequence. And yeah, when the wars were happening, when the Chinese were kind of winning the war, our rhythms, the rhythms that we used were taikos, which are actually more Japanese than Chinese, but we use those kind of rhythm patterns and rhythm sounds.
Okay, and when a film like Tube Light, for example, does not work, how heartbreaking is that?
It's always heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for everybody involved in the film, because when you are involved, it's like you're part of creating a baby, giving birth to a child, and it's as if the child is not that welcomed by people. It could be that the child is how to say born early or something. I don't know, whatever the various situations that would make people kind of feel that this child is not, there's something wrong with the child. Similarly, you feel that about the film that you worked on. So, and it's a part of your creation. And as personally, I felt the story was right. I think it didn't work for the audience. So it's not that the film was bad. Far from. I think the film was pretty good.
All right. Now, Phantom had, I think, a lot of scope for a very fine background score.
Yeah.
Because of the subject, the way it was, and I'm sure that you guys had a lot of fun, and the results were there for everyone to see as well.
Phantom was again thriller. It was a very cool subject about trying getting hold of all the guys who were masterminds behind the whole 26/11 attacks in Mumbai. And the storytelling, the narrative, the cuts, the editing was very sharp. It was a back and forth edit. So our music also had to keep the audience interested and invested. So our music had to be very, very thriller-like, very edgy. So it was very important. The music played a very important part in that film too. I mean, the story was very fast-paced. So our music was pretty much on that lines.
Okay, now what next? Are you doing something next with Kabir as well?
He's currently going on the floors for a new film. So I'm assuming I'm doing it because they did get in touch with me. But I only get into the whole play of things when the first edit is done, and then I'm called to do the the background, start working on the background. So currently, no, I'm not involved currently, but I'll get involved once the edit is ready. I think he's doing a film with the Sajid Nadiadwala only.
Correct.
Like discussing Phantom similarly.
How comfortable the situation is when you know a person, when you're good friends with that person, and he considers every cog in the wheel in an artistic manner, and not merely like a formulaic or like a marketing sort of a gimmick manner. Does that help? Does that give you a high? Because I believe you are inherently an artist.
Thank you. I think that is a compliment. Yeah, but we are creators as well. And besides being artists, I mean, it's not that we are artistic in our own way. We have to work in tandem with others too. It's like a process with other people involved. So it is important that their view, and especially the director's vision, is very crucial for me. If his vision is not being achieved, then there's something wrong. There's something really, really how to say, restrictive and not making the workflow go ahead. So I have to understand his vision. And luckily, being a friend of his and worked on so many movies with him, there is a kind of a connect which I can't put a finger to it, but it's already there. It plays on the subconscious level. If he's saying ki aise kuch chahiye, before he finishes his sentence, I'm able to finish it for him. So I know ki acha ye kar lenge. Haan, that's correct. We'll do that. Okay. That's what I was going to say. So it's like that. So most things work out like that. There's also a downside by having a very good friend who's a director of the film, because then he can push you around. So he can treat you like like a childhood buddy, and it's like that. You get pushed around as if you are. I mean, you don't get any special treatment at all. I mean, you're treated like as if we were in college. It's like that. Our lingo and the vocabulary becomes like that.
Julius, I think as always, wonderful talking to you. I think we should dedicate this particular episode to your association with Kabir Khan, and I think we have successfully managed to do that. So thank you very much for your time and all the best wishes for all your future ventures. Thank you so much.
Same goes to you. Right back at you, Farid.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Take care.